you worked with a lot of your colleagues who are LGBTQ plus. So let's start with, was there a moment where you realized that life for us and for them is very different? Like our struggles and their struggles are different.
I think first time when one of my friend came out and he said, I am gay, I just gave him a smile. I said, okay, that's good. And then we moved on. I mean, I didn't react. There were struggles, especially from the adolescent age group where things are difficult for most of us, you know, the puberty, all that. For them, even not accepting the body and, you know, not being accepted by people around, especially the family members, not being able to understand, that was extremely difficult.
Okay.
You know, just, your friend is coming, you know, that kind of a tone. You know, the tone, you know that this is not a right tone. But then, yes.
Correct. Okay.
And you put it across saying, yes, my friend is coming. Do you have a problem? Later, she told me she has adopted a daughter and she's taking care of her. I was so proud of her, you know.
Yeah.
And she's doing so much for the community. Not just she was, being... It was not comfortable for her. Obviously, her journey was very full of struggle.
In medical science, there's actually a conversion therapy and shock therapy, or maybe there used to be such therapies given to someone who is LGBTQ plus.
Yeah, so back then...
How true is that?
Back then, parents never used to accept that when a boy used to come and say that I like boys, or, you know, everything is connected to a mental disorder. So people thought that converting them, you know, some mind is what is polluted. Not just that, in India, jhad phunk, all those things, baba, all that. They're also done, you know, thinking that it is a mental disorder which has to be corrected.
Can I ask you a difficult question if you don't mind? If hypothetically you have another child.
Yes.
And your child comes out to you, how will you respond? I wish you knew. It's a Pride Month special on Red Adda, just to hear stories of how far the world has come in order to show their support to the LGBTQ plus community, and also how far can you also come a little more forward so that you can tell them that you love them and they don't have to be afraid anymore. Superhits 93.5 Red FM पर this is Red Adda मेरे यानी प्रिया के साथ, and at the Red FM studios today I've got Dr. Saraswati joining me. She's an MBBS, MS Orthopedics, a gold medalist, but most of all, she's an ally just like you and me. Dr. Saraswati Viswanathan is one of the few practicing lady orthopedic surgeons in Bangalore. So first of all, I want to welcome you to Red FM. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you, RJ Priya. I'm so happy to come here and talk about my views on this topic.
Superb. Okay. So to start off, I want to ask you about this whole thing about being one of the few practicing lady orthopedic surgeons. Now, can you tell me about that a little bit?
So back then when I took up orthopedics, it was supposed to be a male branch. So when I look at it, when I joined my post-graduation, there were about 30 male, colleagues, including professors and teachers and my college students.
Yeah.
But then I realized that I was getting my support from few of my colleagues. And that's when I realized that, you know, if you're different, an ally is important. And that has also helped me to understand this community.
Superb. All right. So now you worked with a lot of your colleagues who are LGBTQ plus. So let's start with, was there a moment where you realized that life for us and for them is very different? Like our struggles and their struggles are different.
So though I knew that people existed with different sexual orientation, when I came across one of my friends, when I met him for the first time, that's when I realized that there were struggles, especially from the adolescent age group where things are difficult for most of us, you know, the puberty, all that. For them, even not accepting the body and, you know, not being accepted by people around, especially the family members, not being able to understand, that was extremely difficult. And growing up was even more difficult for them, you know. First is accepting themselves the way they are, and then the society accepting them. There were two big major steps, and I think it was very difficult for most of them.
Okay. What do you think you did right in order to give them that space that they can share their stories with you?
I think first time when one of my friend came out and he said, I am gay, I just gave him a smile. I said, okay, that's good. And then we moved on. I didn't react because I thought that reacting to it or asking further questions would not be nice. I just let him be the way he was.
Yeah.
And over a period of time, over coffees and lunches, I realized the struggle and we became better friends over a period of time.
That's a very beautiful point. Basically, what you're saying is we do not have to dwell into this whole fact that, okay, so what if you're gay? So what if you're lesbian? We've got nothing to do with it. You're just a human being, just like any other person, right?
Absolutely.
Superb. All right. So being an active supporter of the LGBTQ plus colleagues, have you ever faced any issue? Like, have other people told you not to support them or something like that?
Some of the times I have few friends who've come over and I have seen my family members reacting in a different way, especially because of the behavior of certain people. But then I have realized that when they know that this person is your friend, they keep their mouth shut. And over a period of time, they also start accepting. So acceptance overall in the society is a little slower than what we expect. But yes, it is there.
So you mean to say that the first pushback comes like from your family? Like, why are you hanging out with them? Like, why are you friends with them kind of thing?
Not exactly in that sense, but indirectly making fun of you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just, your friend is coming, that kind of a tone. The tone, that this is not a right tone. But then, yes.
Correct. Okay.
And you put it across saying, yes, my friend is coming. Do you have a problem? And then that's it.
What about your colleagues? Like at workplace, you have accepted them, but there might be other people who find it a little more challenging.
Yes. But then I think I've realized that when you talk to them openly about it, some of them are ready to accept it.
Okay. Give me an example.
For example, when I'm talking to somebody over lunch, I'm saying that I met this friend.
Yeah.
And first reaction would be, that friend. And you say that, why do you say like this? The struggles that they have gone through, you have no idea.
Right.
So when you are talking about them as a human being with their own set of struggles, I think acceptance is better.
Now let's talk about you as a doctor. Of course, you have come across patients who are from the Pride community.
Yes.
What was your first experience like? The first time you treated someone who belonged to the LGBTQ+?
Yes, it was a very interesting, scenario. When I met a lady, she was in her 50s. Normally, we take the history of menstrual history for their bone health.
Yeah.
When I asked her, she said, "Madam, I'm a transgender." So, and then she said that I took her history. She said, I have a daughter. Then later she told me she has adopted a daughter and she's taking care of her. I was so proud of her, and she's doing so much for the community. Not just she was, it was not comfortable for her. Obviously, her journey was very full of struggle. Yeah. Then I realized that she's come across a long way. She's come a long way. And then the way she spoke to me, I was inspired by her.
When she told you that she was transgender, and of course you must have not had, it is your first experience.
Yes, it was my first experience. Yes.
So how did you react?
I was surprised, but I didn't react. I looked at her and I said, okay, so this question is not I'm going to ask. I went to the next question. I took few minutes to understand what she said and then I reacted. I responded, I didn't react.
Superb. And how did you feel her response was? Like after she told you this, do you think?
I think before that she was hiding few facts. The moment she said she's transgender and I kind of responded to it, she spoke to me about a lot of other things. She was more comfortable talking to me after that.
If I have to, since you've studied MBBS and the whole human anatomy and everything, how many biological possibilities are there?
See, the thing is, one is physical body.
Yeah.
The second thing is your mental acceptance of the gender. So gender is not just the physical body.
Correct. That's why I said biological differences.
Yes.
How many different?
There are lots of permutations and combinations.
Oh,
so
okay.
You have male and female just depending on the external genitalia.
Yeah.
Some of the times the genitalia is not formed very well. So you have somewhere in between, right? Mm-hmm. And the hormones play a significant part.
Depending on the reproductory parts,
yes,
there is male and female.
Yes.
And then there are permutations and combinations. Would you say all of them are transgenders?
I'm not the right person to talk about that.
Oh,
how do you actually, because there are so many names that are given to it, I would not say. This is basically a person whose body is a female, accepts as female. But then this is spectrum.
Okay.
So I think we'll not be able to say that, okay, this is trans and this is not. So
yeah. So what I'm trying to understand is that to treat someone,
yes.
How important is this to know?
Yes, it is important to know basically what are the physical organs that they have, but then what is their mental thought process, that is more in terms of psychological view. For example, a person who's identifying as male but is attracted to a male, you call them gay.
Yeah.
Right. So he is male and has a body parts of a male. So that way I think there is a spectrum here.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I got to know from someone that in medical science, there's actually a conversion therapy and shock therapy, or maybe there used to be such therapies given to someone who is LGBTQ plus.
Yeah. So back then,
how true is that?
Back then, parents never used to accept that when a boy used to come and say that I like boys, or everything is connected to a mental disorder. And like shock therapy for so many things, you have including epilepsy therapies, electroconversion therapies were given. So people thought that converting them, some mind is what is polluted. Not just that, in India, jhad phunk, all those things, baba, they're also done, thinking that it is a mental disorder which has to be corrected.
Okay, so this shock therapy that you spoke about, what is it actually used for?
Certain types of epilepsy which are not treatable for certain focal areas. It's an electrical issue, so focal areas of it can be used or it may be used, but I'm really not sure whether it is used anymore, because I read MBBS many years back.
Of course,
but yes,
back then the medicine study was a lot different. The curriculum was a lot different. And now I've heard that there are changes. Do you think right now the curriculum of the medicine study that we have in India, is it very inclusive?
Surprisingly, very recently, there was a backlash because NMC, the National Medical Commission, when it came up with a few changes, it had put as, consensual queer sex to be unnatural. And there was a big backlash way back in 2024. I mean, that's quite recent.
Yeah.
And then there were changes made to it. So what medical science basically says is, you as a MBBS student, when you talk to somebody, you should be very conscious when you ask questions about gender, sexual orientation and behavior.
Right.
So, and you should be accepting. But as such, it is not taught, is what I would say.
Okay. So doctors are actually not taught how to deal with a patient who is probably transgender or any other combination.
Yeah, it doesn't come as a major part of your curriculum in your MBBS.
Okay. And how about now?
Now, I think...
Since they received the backlash and everything?
Yes, there has been changes made in the curriculum. But at the same time, I think because of the social media, because of the awareness, there is an acceptance overall, even in the medical community.
Okay, superb. Do you think doctors in general are approachable to the LGBTQ plus community?
Yes. Quite a lot of them are approachable. Quite a lot of them are open to it. But then again, some people who come with a strong religious background, the background also matters. Some people find it difficult to accept. But most of them, even if they're not finding it difficult to accept, they do treat the patient on their problems. I mean, at times they may not show it.
What do you have to say about that? Like, how can they be, like, some people might want to, but they don't know how to. What's your take on this? How would you advise someone who wants to be more LGBTQ plus friendly as a doctor?
I think taking about 2 or 3 minutes extra talking to the patient makes a lot of difference. Making them comfortable makes a lot of difference. And when you talk to them for a few more minutes, just not talking about what the problem they have, trying to understand where they come from, the connection, if you're able to make, you kind of support them better.
All right. Now, as an ally, you have also been a part of a lot of these community events. I think you're lucky.
I would say that. Yes, absolutely.
Give us a little insight about these events that you've attended.
So the first one I attended was a free theatre, and it was called Ek Madhav Bagh or something. It was a mono play, I think, and the actress Mona. She did so well, and I had tears in my eyes when I saw the
I can see you tearing up even right now as you remember
beautiful. And then you see the human part of it. You see the emotions, the raw emotions. She played a mother of a son who comes out as gay, and how she responds and where she goes wrong, and how she realizes that maybe she didn't do it properly. It was done beautifully. And I've been part of 2 BQFFs, and I enjoyed watching the movies. The community is so vibrant, so beautiful.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed meeting new people. And I've seen that most of these people are very accepting. Because they have accepted themselves. They accept you as the way you are.
Superb. Can I ask you a difficult question if you don't mind?
Please do. I'll try to answer.
If hypothetically you have another child.
Yes.
And your child comes out to you, how will you respond?
So I already have a child who is about 9 years old.
Yeah.
And when I met my friend Anil, I was wondering that what if someday my son comes out to me as, gay, or somebody who's not identifying with his physical gender. I would accept him. I would be happy that he's able to come out and tell me.
Nice.
Right? So we have that communication line open.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely okay with that.
Okay.
And I want the child to be happy.
That is such a beautiful take. And how would you say your family would react?
See, how I react would make a lot of difference. When I accept, I give a signal to all my family members that I am the main person I've accepted.
Yeah.
You better accept.
That is such a strong message. That is such a strong message that I think that the world would be a better place if just every kid gets support from their family. You just start from there.
Absolutely. It shapes them. Yeah. The confidence that they have when they walk on the street is completely different when the family backs you.
Superb. Okay. So the West calls it ally. We call it plain friendship, right? You would call yourself a friend.
Absolutely.
Of anyone, right? So what are the 3 things you wish people knew about being friends with someone who is LGBTQ+?
One is they are as normal as you are.
Perfect. Yeah.
Second thing is maybe they have more struggles than you because the acceptance was a little less. First is accepting themselves. The internal struggle was much bigger for them than you. So be a little more compassionate.
Yeah.
And then third is I would feel that even in this community, they need partners. Right? So I just hope that people are more open to, finding partners.
How sweet, how sweet. I think while I was talking to, members of the community, a lot of them was like, yaar, shaadi ki baat mat karo mujhse.
Not exactly shaadi, just then finding somebody with whom you can share things with. You cannot be sharing with everybody, right? So
right.
I feel my friend struggles in this part. We in fact paid money to somebody in Gujarat through a matrimony trying to find a guy for him.
Oh, wow.
But then we realized that it was a fraud company. We lost some money. All that happened.
Yeah, we need, I think, any businessmen listening, matrimony for our lovely Pride community. It needs to be there.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for coming down to Red FM and giving us insights about the whole Pride community from a doctor's perspective.
Yes, thank you.
Is there anything else that you would like to say?
No, I would say I was lucky to have friends and then, being a part of this community. Though I've never been to a Pride walk, but maybe sometime I would be a part of it.
Nice one. What do you think that became like a common factor for you that you could relate to someone like that? Like, where does this empathy come from?
So when I was doing my post-graduation, I was one female, women among almost 30, 40 men.
Yeah.
So I was kind of feeling isolated. And then 1 or 2 guys who were supporting me, I felt that warmth and then the empathy that they showed. And I realized that when you are different, you feel lonely, isolated.
Yes.
And when somebody supports you from the other community, it does make a lot of difference. I think empathy came from that part.
So you're saying that if there is a group of people who hold privilege, if one person from that group has that empathy for someone who's feeling different, that becomes
a common thread or something which connects you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think this is exactly why women tend to be more warm towards anyone who's different as opposed to...
Yes, I agree.
Superb. Thank you so much, Dr. Saraswati, for joining us over here, for giving us your insights and for being so candid about your entire experience.
No, I really enjoy talking to you. I think Pride Month is really important that we talk about issues like this. And I was happy and I think I'm lucky to have friends in this community and I have seen a few beautiful movies because of them in BQFF and I've just enjoyed being a part of this. Thank you so much.
All right. This is Superhits 93.5 Red FM. My name is Priya. at the studios, we have Dr. Saraswati today, who gave us a whole lot of insight about what it's like to be an ally, to be a doctor, to be someone who listens patiently and who does not have to say many words, but will still give you a look that says that I'm there for you. And I hope that more and more people join this cause and let everyone live with happiness and equality. Once again, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
बजाते रहो